YouTube. Hello. Curb, if you're watching this, I'm so sorry. We're doing a recommendation from Curb called Tiny Bunny, which I think is like a visual adventure novel kind of thing. Curb's really into this, and he also agreed to kind of do it with me, but I kind of want to surprise him with it, so Tiny Bunny. Alrighty. I know nothing of this game outside of there's a fox that Curb loves. That's all I know. So we shall see how this goes. All right. English, please. Oh, audio? Oh, the game contains something. I don't fucking know. Hopefully not nudity. Hopefully not nudity. That'd be very unfortunate. No, that'd be very unfortunate. Okay. Sure. Why not? How do I get out of here? Alright, Tiny Bunny. Should I just be playing the intro of Fallout New Vegas? Blue Moon. The wind clawed at my window all night long. It wandered the fields and howled like a hungry beast. An endless song weaved from all sorts of voices. Shrill, gentle, sneery, wind in the air. They were shouting and laughing, and arguing about something. Someone was running through the snow while casting long shadows that would occasionally creep close to my bed. Our house had a mind of its own, a creaky old mind of a building that had seen a lot of its days and was seemingly trying to share its wisdom with the inhabitants. The lonely house faced the forest, and the dark green thicket gazed back with its hollow eyes. Rustling, wheezing, whizzing, swaying back and forth. One could come out and stand at the edge of the forest to reassure themselves there was nobody behind the crooked trees. Fuzzy silhouettes swaying in the wind couldn't possibly do any harm. It's just a play of the light and shadow. Just a play. I know it was just my imagination. I was already 12 after all. Still. Episode 1. The Owl Will Arrive. Oh.
Убери книгу немедленно.
Oh. Whoa. Hey, put away your book.
Сколько раз говорила, не читай за столом, вредно. Сидишь, сутулился весь.
How many times have I told you not to read at the table? It's bad for your health. Look at how slouched you are. Okay, guess we will hide the book. I didn't protest and put the book about Conan the Barbarian aside. Okay, well that's copyright. I was stuck on a line I couldn't understand after reading it 3 times anyway. Orleaf had already finished her breakfast and was munching on some cookies. She was so enthusiastic, she almost looked like your typical girl from commercials.
Пока не съешь, из-за стола не встанешь.
You're not going anywhere until you finish all of it. The book? I, on the other hand, was still trying to drill a hole in the plate with my eyes, as if it would make the porridge disappear. Hazy anxiousness welled up inside, all because of the previous sleepless night, the black forest around our house, and the gloomy wind. The longer I waited, the colder the lumpy white substance became. It looked like a jellyfish from the Crystal Odyssey. I love that show. I wonder how horrifying the bottom of the ocean is, or how cold the black forest is at night. The spoon fell from my hand. Mom showered me with a cold glare from her green eyes.
Что я говорила?
What did I just say?
Я достану.
I'll get it. I had 10 seconds to catch my breath before battling the nasty porridge once again. Let me rearrange my mic and gain just a bit. That way you can get all of me without having to just... Okay. I felt around for the spoon. What is this carved in the other side of the table? Karina. Hey, that's my mom's name. I guess she carved it out with something pointy when she was little. She sure was a rascal, damaging the furniture like that. She would scold me for a week if I did something similar, though. Should I remind her about it? No. She's been in a bit of a bad mood lately. I imagined her being at my age, sitting around this table. I wonder, was Mom afraid of the dark back then? Or the sounds coming from the attic? Or the thick forest? I imagined my grandma, my babushka, coming into my little mom's room, sitting at the edge of her bed where Olya sleeps nowadays, and saying this in her soft, smooth voice.
Это особое место, детятка.
Tiger's a special place, little girl.
Она к тебе
It's watching you
присматривается,
closely,
принюхивается,
sniffing you out,
словно хочет понять,
trying to
что ты
discern what kind of
такой.
beast you are.
Нравишься в битве
If you're a
не
good
брось.
sort, it won't abandon you in times of trouble.
А будешь
But if you're a
проказничать,
bad apple,
схватит за бочок.
it'll grab you by the side and drag you under the ground. I am going to kinda just, yeah. And that would be it. Grandma was caring. She never she never fought with anybody, never yelled, never swore. There were the times without the maddening screams until late at night, without smashed dishes and mutual accusations. Our parents used to love each other back then. I remember listening in on one of their conversations by chance. They were talking about Grandma getting prepared for her funeral. She had already bought a casket, and she called it her cute funeral box. It waited for its time in the closet, patiently. It was black, upholstered with meat-colored material on the inside. I saw it when my grandma was getting buried. The house didn't change since the time she was alive. Only all the photos are gone. Glass-covered pictures with grave faces of my ancestors. They all had a dead but watchful look on their eyes. I crawled out from under the table. Olya was done with her cookies, and I was looking at my share like a sly woodland critter. I turned my gaze toward the forested window. There were a lot of dark pines outside, but they didn't grab my attention. The pattern of frost formed a picture on the glass. Olya, look! It's a fox! Where? It looked almost like those optical illusion thingies they put on the back of student notebooks. A mixture of lines at a first glance, but if you blur your vision a little bit and look under a certain angle. Not outside, on the window. Look, here's the nose, and here's the... Hey, eat up. Yes, just a moment. Like, fuck it, if I'm gonna be like... I don't see anything. Oh, yep, there's not much left. Ah, there it is. But it still doesn't look like one. And I'm telling you, it does. Nuh-uh. It does. Stop it. These kids, I swear. No, I couldn't see the fox either. It disappeared. Went away. Only the frosty patterns similar to a stretched out nettle leaves. Only the frosty patterns similar to stretched out nettle leaves kept creeping up the glass. My dad entered the kitchen with long measured steps. Want to have a beer like his when I grow up? Mom would always ask jokingly, Come on, shave it off. It stings. This was so long ago. There was no love at this Russian table. Nowadays, mumbling doors and witty comebacks were an everyday occurrence. Olya always covered her ears when she hears something like, "What's the point in all this?" through the wall. "It's all for your sake," Dad would reply, "for the sake of our family." I always caught every sound in fear of hearing the most dreaded, the deadliest word that started with a D. Devo. Devo! Yeah. I don't even want to finish it. What, devoid? It was scary to imagine that me and my little sister could be torn apart and taken into two different families. Oh, divorce. Oh, hey buddy, let me fucking tell you about divorce. Let good old Jacko here tell you about fucking divorce. I've been there. It's okay. It's scary, but it works out. Just don't let it shape you, you know? Anyway, your fox is nothing. I have an owl on my window. You and your owl talk again. You said you believed me just yesterday. Has anybody seen my car keys? I remember leaving them on the windowsill. Right. Maybe you did, and maybe not. You're a grown man, a father of two, and still... Karina, please, stop. Just let me get ready in peace. The keys are in the basket near the phone. Well, thank you very much. Anton, stop making a martyr out of yourself and finish eating already. But the owl! There is and never was an owl. But there was one! It had giant glowing eyes. Olya sprung up from the chair and placed her hands on her little face, imitating a pair of eyes with her fingers the size of an apple each. Last year you had Bobby in the closet. Who the fuck? What? In Slavic folklore, a nocturnal spirit used by parents to threaten their ill-behaving children. And now this owl. But I saw it. Olya shifted her gaze back and forth from Dad to Mom to me, but couldn't find any support. Have you thought about befriending it? Don't bully our girl. She's just afraid to sleep alone because she's still little. Olya pouts her lips in rebellion and rushes into the hallway. The staircase that led to the second floor creaked. Mom gave Dad a strict look. Oh, that look in her eyes. It's so uncomfortable to be pinned under it. Dad just snorted in reply and left, bringing with the keys he just found. A minute had passed and the theme song from The Little Mermaid echoed through the house. It was stored on an incredibly worn-out cassette tape, which Dad already had it glued together once. So easy to fix objects, by gluing them back together, for example. But how do you fix a relationship? Mom moved to the living room and I was left alone, anxiously stealing glances out the window. Olya had trouble sleeping ever since we moved to the house. She would toss and turn or curl up into a ball under her blanket. Sometimes she would jump up in the middle of the night and turn on the VCR. Cartoons helped to take her mind off all the troubles we had with the move and our parents. Then Olya said she saw that giant flying monster outside her window. She became obsessed with it. Olya refused to... Our parents had everything in their power. They tried every little trick to get rid of those ridiculous fears. Olya refused to sleep alone and didn't believe that the owl was just one of her nightmares. Motherfucker! After last night, I was unsure what to make of my sister's words. What to think of it myself. Can nightmares be infectious? That night, I couldn't get a wink of sleep and ended up thinking of what to expect from my new school. There were a couple of days left before the beginning of a new term. My imagination drew long, twisted hallways that led to the classroom full of kids. But all the students behind their desks were simply dark figures, cut out using a template. Circular holes gaped in the middle of their faces, and a pair of eyes blinked inside these holes. It was as if some completely different creatures were looking at me from behind the flat black silhouettes. The cruel glares, filled with icy sneers, made me shiver from head to toe. Will I survive here? Won't they gang up on me and beat me down, stomp on me with their bloodied shoes? The damn school can burn for all I care. I just wish for anything to happen to it. It doesn't really matter what. I didn't want to go there that badly. I didn't want to see people who were just itching to smack me on the head, trip me up, thinking of new offensive name for me, worse than the previous one. I felt like the glasses I wore made me an outsider or some sort of a monster. My gaze slid across the drawings hanging on the walls. I couldn't consider myself a great artist, but Olia begged me to hang them. Drawing was the only thing that made me happy as of late. The small circle of friends I had also enjoyed my paintings, and they promised to call me from time to time. Sometimes I imagine Mom picking up the phone and saying in a cold voice, "You've got the wrong number." Or, "Anton is not around." Anton is not around. I imagine my future classmates lying in their beds just like me, listening to their howls of invisible werewolves outside their windows. Maybe my new classmates were like me after all. But who would ever like a boy with thick glasses? I mean, my dad used to wear glasses when he was little, and now he's married to the most beautiful woman on the planet, my mom. House creaked, pressed by the wind. The condo we used to live in, a 9-floor concrete building, buzzed with the neighbor's drill, mumbling with a TV set from behind the wall, cried like a baby from the big family next door. Our current house, though, I can't really call it new, was completely different. It was silent and easygoing during the day. Its shadows lay dormant in the corners, on the closet cobwebs, and under the stairs. But they all woke up during the night. Something was watching me from every corner, almost as if the old photos of my deceased family, with their ashen eyes, were hanging on the walls in place of my drawings. The floor was squeaking. Rusty drains were moaning. The attic was occupied by noisy drafts. One could not think the house was performing some sort of demonic melody. And then I realized I was, in fact, hearing music. It was already playing for a good while. Somewhere at the edge of my perception, I could hear a flute. It was mixed in with the sound of the wind, of the creaking old house, and my thoughts too. I stood up and rushed to the window. I wanted to reassure myself that this music was nothing more than a product of my imagination. It's not like someone is playing it there amidst the cold, snowy night, right? Someone was dancing in the field. Black silhouettes I could barely make out, with a dark forest as their backdrop. They jumped around, basked in moonlight, bumped into piles of snow, rolled around and crawled on all fours. Stories about wolves playing under the moon came to mind, but these were clearly not wolves. They stood upright at times, circled around holding hands and whipping up snow, disappearing into the shadows for a brief moment and then coming back. Something bizarre is going on. Shadows dancing in the starless abyss made my imagination go wild, making me anxious at the same time. Suddenly, the music had stopped. The dancing shadows froze in place, and I could swear pierced me with their eyes. One of the silhouettes immediately parted from the bizarre shadow carnival and sprinted across the field with giant leaps. It glided on squeaky snow without leaving any prints until it was devoured by the pitch-black shadow of my house, which became even darker and thicker. My heart was jumping around the bird like a bird inside a cage. I shut the curtains with a swift motion and stepped back toward the bed. They saw me. A freezing torrent of fear washed over me. I stood in the middle of a perfectly black room and listened to some unwanted guest move and scrape around, looking for an entrance. The sound moved to the right, then circled around the house. Now my guest should be at the front door. I jumped into the bed and covered myself with a blanket as if it could protect me. The shackles of fear locked my muscles. I remembered the funeral, my grandma lying there, hands crossed on her chest, her facial features sharp like that of a tin doll. Ants running up and down the legs of chairs that held my grandma's casket. I imagined those little creatures climbing up her bed, up her head and pulling her eyelids with their tiny legs. Then her wrinkly eyeballs would once again move inside their sockets and she'd be able to see her grandchildren. I was chanting the spell she taught me throughout the whole procedure. And now, lying under the blanket and listening to squeaks and howls, I was repeating the same words. On the island of Buyan, underneath the blemished sun in the sea of color blue, stands a cabin made of wood. There lay lard and ashen hair for the spawn from the devil's lair to feast and always leave alone God's faithful servant named Inton. Evil leave this house must. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. Bizarre sounds had disappeared. I cautiously peeked out from under the blanket and saw curtains waving around like a hanged man. And then the night doused me with a new portion of boiling terror. The sound scratched at my eardrums. In reality, something or someone was scratching at the front door, hurriedly clawing the wood, demanding to be let in. The door is shut. Dad had become very cautious recently, so he installed a sturdy lock. I remember him staring at the forest intently as if it was looking for someone. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. I hugged my knees, placing my chin between them, and drilled the door with my eyes. It was so flimsy and weak before the might of darkness. And then the doorknob twitched, slightly. Then it turned halfway, once, twice, as if the person who tried to enter it had no hands. The doorknob tilted once more, and then started clicking violently. My jaw cramped from fear. My wet fingers clutched the blanket. The door creaked and opened. The wind taunted me, moaning inside the tin drains. Now you'll see. The door is wide open. The darkness writhed inside the carnivorous mouth of the doorway. It was as if the night itself was calling out to me, flapping its black wings and squeaking with rusty hinges. I was trembling, ensnared by the web of darkness that hung in the corners of my room, waiting for the one who weaved it to come out of the gaping black hole. My abdomen tightened from my chest rose up, ready to exhale a desperate scream. But before I was able to do anything, the darkness asked me, Tusha, you asleep? My sister's pale face protruded from the thick shadows. I almost screamed from relief. Ulia, I'm not sleeping. Did something happen? Ulia frowned and stuck out her lower lip, a clear sign that she was about to cry. It's there again, staring at me. Shoo her away, Tusha. Please. I'm so scared. The fear that was tormenting me just a moment ago crawled away and hid somewhere in my stomach. I need to calm Ulia down. It was just a dream, silly. Don't be scared. Dreams don't bite. No one's going to harm you. Ulia sobbed. She was trying her best to believe me. But was I sure myself? I have an idea. Let's go to your room and watch the video, Sleeping Beauty, for example. You like that cartoon, don't you? Yeah, it's boring as shit. Why does the Sleeping Beauty have a prince and I have this scary bird? I mean, Sleeping Beauty has a fucking, witch dragon. Would you rather the owl or the dragon? The question took me by surprise. Alright, let's watch Cinderella. Fucking pick another Disney classic. I don't fucking know. My thoughts became tangled. Big tangled. Fuzzy. What was that? What studied me with its eyes while dancing feverishly under the moon? The darkness was clinging to the window, and it couldn't be fooled by Grandma's old chants. It could be satisfied with a feast of lard and long ashen hair. Tosha, you coming? Yes, just a moment. That's why I didn't want to laugh at Olia and her outlet in the morning. Who could be visiting us here in the middle of nowhere? We don't know anyone around here. So persistent. Felt extremely unsettled just from a silly thought that our morning guests could have come from the woods. I could barely hear voices coming from the front door. My mind was urging me to hide. In the closet, dude, same. Under the table, behind the curtains where Olia always hides. Osha, come here. I felt little kettlebells were tied to my feet, but still dragged them toward the hallway. A couple of policemen towered over me in the doorway. They smelled like frost and worry. My mom always winced and grumbled the moment she saw patrol cars. Worse than bandits. The moment, though, she looked somewhat confused. Hello? The senior officer, who wore a grin expression, nodded. A boy had gone missing. Oh my gosh. A boy had gone missing yesterday. His name's Vorva. Look at this, please. Have you seen him? The policeman held out a photograph to me. There was a ginger boy around the age of elementary school, pictured with the wall carpet as the backdrop. He had a striped cat in his hands and wore a wide smile. No, I haven't. Are you sure? Look closely. Where would I see him? I don't know anyone around here. I barely leave the house. Well, maybe you've seen him from the window? That's right. Your windows look straight at the forest, don't they? The window. No, I haven't seen anything. I see. He sounded tired, but his eyes, his stare, long and heavy, was full of suspicion. I squirmed unwittingly under the weight of guilt, which his giant shadow cast over me. The policeman finally tore his eyes from me and glanced over the hallway, the stairway and the cracks in the ceiling, which I haven't noticed before for some reason. Fuck, god damn it. How do you like your new place, by the way? Getting used to it? Bit by bit. It's just a little daughter misses the city a lot. Misses the city, huh? Have the locals been treating you well? Yes, everything is alright, thank you. The policeman pierced through me one more time with his brown eyes. My head started spinning. Can I help you somehow? He asked that in a shaky voice, to look like a polite boy and to end this unpleasant conversation sooner. Now that I think of it... Motherfucker. You look like one of my nephews, little fella. He's a witty boy around your age. Wears the same type of goggles. Always engrossed in reading those mystery novels. Told me he wants to enroll in police school when his family visited the summer. Wanted to help other people just like me, see? I felt uncomfortable, as if a distant relative and not a police officer stood before me. You know what? Little boys like you should stay at home, steer away from trouble. The times have changed so much. Mom interjected in a cold voice. You don't say. Oh, well then. What grade are you in, Anton? 6th. Have you made any friends here so far? Not yet. I'll be going to school for the first time after the break. Then I'll leave you my number, just in case. Go ahead, little boy, give me a ring. Call up the policeman. Send me nude photos at this number. Call me if you have any new info. Oh, sorry. No, I was about to do a bit. Nope, I do not want that out there. No. The policemen were gone, along with their shadows, the smell of cheap cologne, and the photo of the smiling boy. Oh, his face still stood before my eyes. I wondered what it was like for him, being all alone, there. For some reason, I thought of the forest swaying in the wind. What did his poor parents feel? And what would my parents do if I'd gone missing? Will they cry and thrash around her hysterically? Or will they accuse each other, like they always do, and forget about me eventually? Mom, this Vova, did he go missing in our forest? Seems like it, poor child. I look out the window, at the road. The police UAZ drove off toward the village. I assume it's just a car, you know? Okay. Yeah, it's a vehicle. Whoa. The officer's nephew came to mind when I was splitting off old paint from the windowsill. I remembered all the teenage mystery novels from the Black Kitty series I've read this summer. It's a series of contemporary Russian original and translated teen mystery books, so cool. Your average boys and girls investigated all sorts of mysteries there. They looked for clues, spied on suspicious people, and after a set of amazing adventures, solved any complicated case. They became local celebrities and must have made their parents very proud. I noticed a trail of policemen's footprints that led to the forest, and then it clicked in my head. Why don't I start an investigation of my own? Maybe I'll find that lost boy, and I'll get a reward. Olya will be so happy. And not only Olya, Mom and Dad too. Maybe we'll even forget about the Coles for a while. Maybe I'll even save them from the D word. Yeah, gotta save Mom from the dick. Don't want Mom getting that dick, you know. I fantasize about buying Olya a Tamagotchi. What? And getting a cassette player and a bunch of tapes for myself. And a whole box of Kinder Surprise. Is this when you go through so many games that I have and someone just goes like, oh yeah, you know, just like Kinder Eggs and Tamagotchis. You're like, what? We can just put that? Okay. When was the last time our parents had bought us any toys? Last autumn, I think my dad had lost his job for a time. There's that annoying song about it. What song? Accountant? A song by an all-female Soviet pop band by the name of Combination that becomes widely popular in the early 90s. Cool. I had little to no idea what was the accountant's job like. They count money, I think. Neighbors used to envy us. And nowadays, Mom and Dad barely had money to afford sweets, and Dad would always divide a single chocolate bar between me and Olya. Sometimes I gave her my share too. No matter how much I wanted to eat sweets, she was still just a pipsqueak. I couldn't wait to go out looking for clues. I'm going outside. Yeah, right. You want the police to go around with your photograph next? The force is so thick. Like the deal. What if the boy got snatched up by wild animals or something even worse? Even worse. Echoed through the hallway. I won't go far. I'll stay away from the forest. Did you hear what I said? Or should I repeat myself? Better go pack your school bag or play with Olya. The sound of splashing water came from the kitchen. It meant that the argument was over and Mom had the last word. You fucking open... Mom says it smells like mice, but how would she know their smell? Okay. She hates when I stick my nose in there. She's afraid I'll cut myself on the freshly sharpened axe. And Olya can't even be lured close to it. She thinks Babai is living in there. I tried to help her fight her fears once. I opened the door and turned on a dim lamp so she would see there was nothing but cobwebs, Dad's tools, and scratched walls. And I liked to hide in the closet and listen to Olya count outside. And then drag her feet in the creaking floorboards, hoping that she wouldn't need to look for me in the cramped monster's den. Take the axe, boyo! The cross had been seen to many people. It was black. It was absorbed all human sin from the long years that was hanging under the ceiling. After Grandma died, Mom was going to take it off and hang a horseshoe in its place as a lucky charm, but she cut herself with a cross at a sharp corner and almost fell from the stepladder. Dad called it a sign from above and ordered the cross to be left alone in its rightful place. Parents prohibit me from making long-distance calls, but from time to time I really want to hear my old friends. Sometimes I would just pick up the phone, listen to the low hum of the zoomer and the distant crackling, imagining the wind howling in the ice-leaden cords. Mom's peg top, a family relic. My mom played it with her when she was little and she gifted it to me. Olia was next in the succession line. The toy belonged to her now. She stared at the dancing spindle as... Now even my little sister was a bit too old for the old squeaky peg top. Anton, I'll whip you if you make a single step out that door. I just distract Mom somehow. I'll get scolded and my ass whipped from Dad's leather belt. You're gonna go out that door. Well, I tried. Get the axe. Mom's a cunt. I'll fucking say it. Lie to Mom. Turn back. Open fridge. The side of an old ocean freezer is checking. Among that still life picture hung a face of... Phone number of the police officer. First Lieutenant... I read inside my mind. Scrape of paper was held by 2 pieces of broken magnet, some old Soviet toy, and those pieces just barely covered up the numbers as if they taught me. I leaned toward it to unveil the mystery and take the piece of to a safer place where it would wait for its time and I would finally find Vova and be the first. Mom's reproachful eyes stared at me. What do you need it for? Hands off, you'll lose it. Angering my mom was the last thing I wanted, so I lowered my hand. Here's the crossword. Take a peek at Mom's crossword. She would get very angry when someone gave her advice, so me and Dad faked knowing the answer and being able to reveal it all the time. Smiled at the fleeting thought. Vertical, 9 letters. Name of the Philistine deity that protected them from the viper bites and had the nickname the Lord of Flies. Beelzebub. Beelzebub. It's Beelzebub. Mom, the answer is Beelzebub. Oh, wait, there's something wrong with the TV is shit. And she's like, oh, you're killing me here? So you haven't had enough of shooting those stupid ducks now? Mom, my video game on the PC won't give you viruses. You clicking the thing that says you want a free vacation is what's giving it viruses. Told you the kinscope will go dim because of your console. Will you find a TV technician in this hole, huh? Maybe it's just the settings. Please go see for yourself. Stranger worked fine in the morning. Maybe the snowfall caused it? Mom rubbed her hands clean on her apron and went to Olia's room. Yeah, fuck you, Mom. Beelzebub. Alright, later, bitch. I'm gonna go get myself killed. I opened the front gate and went into the field. Carefully, so Mom wouldn't see me from the window. When I crossed half of the distance toward the forest, the snow piles became as high as my knees. I remembered my nightly fears. I saw those silhouettes around here. They were jumping around, holding hands. The hypnotizing music started playing in my head all on its own. In the light of day, those distant figures felt like a simple dream. The sun turned my nightmares to ash, but the aftertaste was still there, distant ringing in my ears. Distorted shadows crawling on the snow alongside me. And a barely audible whisper in my head, blurry and almost kind. Everything was silent, so silent I felt like the world was totally empty. No ground, no sky, no parents, no Olya. The time reached its limit, a one-way trip to the end of the forest pink stockade. Sometimes silence was much scarier than any scream. Our parents would scream at each other while arguing, and both me and Olya turned to stone listening to them, but then always came the ringing silence. Our apartment became numb a couple of days before we departed. It was hard to remember the last time Mom and Dad joked around laughing or spent time together, almost like his previous life. When they kissed with Olya present, she always frowned and snorted in a funny way. Something important had left our home, as something scary filled the remaining void. It was as if a fire broke out and our parents were hurried packing our belongings, trying to save themselves and us. From who, though? From the people with dead cold eyes, with sometimes visiting us in a previous home? The eyes they only saw balls of worms in the black garden. Fuck, and somewhere far away a sign was going off trying to warn us of the coming menace. I shouted, chasing away my delusions and looking around. There was only me, this white fear in the wind was whipping up icy dust and belts of powdered snow. I screened from the sun and turned my eyes to the sunless forest. It looked especially dark in contrast with the blinding whiteness. Knobby trees roots slithered under the snow like fat snakes. This kid's in 6th grade. He's 11. Long leaves of coniferous needles frozen into the ice. Dry prickly branches intertwined, bringing up uncomfortable thoughts of fences. Were they protecting the forest, or were they keeping something from breaking out? Some object was hanging from one of the pointy branches. I tried to get closer, drowning in the snow, and when I almost got to the edge of the forest, I saw a knitted mitten. It looked like a wounded bird among the semi-dark. Tried to take a look at... The senior officer looked gloomy, but he reminded me of the Captain Casanova from the favorite TV show called The Streets of Broken Lights. He was also always anxious when I felt so brave and strong. While his men helped me find the lost boy, Vova! I heard a distant shout, looking to come from the river. Vova! As if the trees were calling out to someone. Vova! We sounded closer to me. Someone was standing there behind the trees, hiding. Vova! I knew someone was looking for the lost boy, but still, something was unsettling about the figure. Its stillness, how it was bent unnaturally toward the ground, its blackness. There's no one there, just branches and roots. It's all just my imagination. A nearby bird flapped its wings loudly. A shadow split from the tree and disappeared from my sight. I looked away for just a moment. When I turned my gaze back to the same place, it was gone. So it was my imagination after all. Silence regained from a painful, long voice. My muscles were tightly sprung, my heart was beating somewhere in the throat. Any noise, any light movement, any small whisper from the thicket, I'd sprint, but nothing of the sort happened. I looked at the mitten once more. Take mitten. I decided to take the lonely mitten from the branch. Vova! A short rumbling across the field and dissolved into the distance, no echo, no hope for a reply. I didn't budge. I pulled hard, the branch cracked and the mitten tore off, landing in my hand with a squeezing sound. Squishy sound. All too heavy, wet. I squished it without thinking and something dark spilled from it, forming a tiny string between the mitten and the snow. Steam rose from the snow pile. It was... Frozen place, studying my palms in disgust. Red. The sound of crackling branches invaded the silence. I didn't have to think twice before running away. Someone was chasing me from the darkness, breaking closing distance with giant leaps. Snow was slowing me down. Crazy thoughts flew through my mind. I'll get caught. They'll get me. I'll get dragged into the thicket. I'll be gone forever. But there was one more voice, probably one of reason. It gave me strength, spurred me on. You can do it. Don't stop. I heard an animal roar from behind me. It was so loud, my ears went numb. It felt like the sound had come from a pack of hungry beasts rather than a single one. Their nostrils sucked in freezing air. They sensed my fear. Two giant wings flapped above my head. An enormous shadow flew over the clearing. A hoot, a wheeze! The roars were coming from all directions now. From the dried-up raspberry bush, from twisted pines, from under the windfall. Hurry, run, don't look back. It felt like I was inside a nightmare. The snowy clearing became vicious like quicksand. I was stuck in place. I pulled my leg from the mushy trap just to be caught in the new one, even deeper than before. I continued to drown, sinking deeper and deeper with every desperate push. Was snow ever this sticky? I screamed in horror after realizing this wasn't snow. Something in the snow pile was clutching my pants. I gathered all my strength and rushed forward. The pressure on my leg was gone. My boots slipped off with the hole in the soles and hard to the surface again. Wearing a hole in the soles of her shoes, I reached a clear path with one jump from there and ran to my house. Its gloomy facade didn't look threatening now. The house was my line of defense from the shadows that flapped their wings and the creatures that were hidden under the snow. I tripped over the doorstep and smacked into the door. In all my hurry, I still managed to notice the claw marks, as if the dog was sticking the wood in its paws, demanding to be let out. I had noticed these marks when I was leaving. The heartbeat in my ears was much louder than my surroundings. I couldn't hear whether someone was following me or not. What if they were already on the front door? Mom had locked the door. Drowning in fear, I pulled in the doorknob and I immediately gave way. I rolled into the hallway and shut the door behind me. Porch planks creaked as my pursuers ascended the stairs. My fingers slipped off the lock and I couldn't click it in place. I gritted my teeth and pulled hard on the iron knob, whipping it between the boards. I stared blankly at the door. Something was standing on the other side of the pitiful, flimsy barrier that was probably less useful than blankets. Wheezing breath reached into the house and crashed at me in waves. It smelled of pine and sweat. Mom peeked out of the kitchen and chastised me for the same frigid voice she always when she was talking to Dad. What exactly didn't you understand when I told you to never slam the door? I didn't mean to. Snuck a glance at the door. The smell was gone and the breath was too. If there was someone in the first place, of course. My legs gave way. I propped myself up against the wall so I wouldn't fall over. Mom's expression hadn't changed immediately. The cold mask of strictness and detachment was gone. Mom looked the same as before all those quarrels. She finally saw my condition, my wet pants plastered with piss. Where have you been? What did I tell you, huh? I told you to stay home. Am I nothing to you, too? I got afraid she would cry. I reached out to her like when I was very little and wanted to cuddle me. But Mom regained her composure fast and put her on her usual face. Her eyes shined like steel. Her voice rang out. Your dad can't find his cigarettes. Be honest, did you snatch them? Were you smoking? There was someone chasing me. I thought... I stuttered as soon as I started explaining myself. Mom leaned toward me and sniffed my clothes like a beast, searching for the smell of tobacco. Then she squinted her eyes in suspicion and looked into the front yard. Her expression changed in an instant when she covered her mouth with her hand. Look over there at the fence! I could swear that I've heard something scratch at the door just like my nightmare. Mom beckoned me with her finger and I gathered all my remaining bravery to look at the kitchen window facing the fear. You barely discerned some hairy silhouettes swimming in snow through the icy winter pounds on the glass. Dogs! Just a small pack of strays with no name or an owner, barely reminding of the hungry beasts that live on the edge of the forest. Oh boy, were you scared of them? I think they'd rather be scared of you, Anton. They were chasing me. Like a bunny. And what if the rabbit? The smile had suddenly disappeared from Mom's face. Now she looked at the dogs as if it was her first time seeing them. What if they attack Olya? Mom? I wish your dad could just shoot them all. Jesus! Huh, what? Are they your friend or foe after all? Make up your mind. You're not a little kid anymore. I'm 11! Mom sighed in annoyance, and I felt so bitter that I bit my lower lip. Actually, how old do you have to be in 6th grade? Yeah, 11 to 12. Oh, well, some detective I am. In reality, I wasn't risking my life amongst monsters, but rather my pants. And what for? What use do I have for this? Mitten! Of course. A dark and sticky mitten that belongs to the lost boy made a squishy sound in my hand. Seems like I was clutching it the whole time. That's my trump card as a detective. I heard they present this clue to my mom. Blood! Mom, look, this is Volva's mitten. You don't know that. It's drenched in blood. Found it hanging on a tree. I can show where. Let's call the police right away, like the officer had told us to. Mom, look. You. A shadow of doubt slowly crept on Mom's contorted face. As if she was trying to remember something distant, like someone tries to remember their dream, but their images slips away. Stop at this moment. Olya will go insane if she hears you. She already has trouble sleeping and whines all the time. And you joke around like this? That moment I realized the man was actually wet from snow. There was no blood whatsoever. I wanted to sink through the floor from embarrassment. Come here, my boy, who cried Wolf. Take your pills. The golden-colored pill reminiscent of a dead wasp fell into my palm. I already took one during breakfast. Don't talk over me. I told you to stay home, and Dad would have given you a good whipping for that. Come on, take it, or you won't be able to sleep at night, and you have school tomorrow. So I had to swallow the bitter medication, drinking it down with similarly awful water that gave me a taste of chlorine. Maybe it was Vova's mitten. Maybe it wasn't a mitten at all. Just like the forest monsters and Olya's owl. Am I going mad? What's happening to me? Either the pill had an immediate effect, or my overexerted brain didn't like the... Serenity washed over me, bringing yawny indifference along with it. Anton, you done? See, you can do what you try. Take off your coat. No, I was just thinking. What about, I wondered. Something silly. Mom scrutinized me with suspicious eyes, as if she wasn't sure she was looking at her own son and not some doppelganger that came from the forest. Is everything alright? You had the exact same expression when the policeman asked you about the window. I'm alright. She heaved a deep sigh. Fine. It seemed like the house had changed. The sofa's fabric had become discolored. Fingerprints appeared on the bathroom tiles. The light bulbs also felt different, dimmer and yellower. Even the saliva inside my mouth had a different taste. A melody from Aladdin. Good to be home from the upper floor. Olya was done rewatching her favorite Little Mermaid episodes and switched to the yellow tapes. I slowly changed into my house clothes, stopped before the sink, and studied my reflection in the mirror, like I was trying to solve one of those spot the difference puzzles. Then I went upstairs. Jafar's and Yagu's voices died down. Is that actual fucking... I walked past Olya's bedroom and slipped into my own. Oh boy, do I not care. Let's open the thing. Simple action drained the last bit of strength from me. I sat on the bed and I know... Well, there's someone behind the curtains. What do you mean it's Olya? You literally said... Okay. There's medicating the creature of the room. The only stable thing in the whole room was the figure between the windows and the curtains. The flimsy police cloth was stuck between me and my hidden visitor. I remained of the burial sheets. Olya, who else would be standing there? I stood up and looked. So funny. The three of us unmoving. There was a thick layer of darkness. Not a human being. I reached towards the curtains. But a beat of my heart controlled my medication. The wind sang in the field. As I wanted to return to the bed, just lie down and watch the person behind the curtain, knowing... Oh, you got me. I bright halo lit up above his head without something in the background. My sister was shining. When she was just a baby, Dad always used to say she was shining with happiness. I always referred, but Dad, she's not some flashlight. Oh, what a fucking comedian. But I brought her to the window one day and sunlight from a smiling felt like I was holding a light woven child. I saw everything. Where'd you hide? She was just with my mom when she was little. Before she was... Oh, it's something. Oh, you ran up to the window. I saw something ahead. It's here. Are you a thief? Don't be stupid. I didn't steal anything. So you won't tell anyone. I'll show you the thing. Look, it's a mitten. It's a mitten of things. It's a mitten. He must be really cold out there. I know, right? What a dork. Oh, you hope he freezes to death. The crasher called me. I've got the police aren't scared of anything. They've always got them forced. If that's the case, how they missed the mitten? Send a pale later to me. Change the topic. We make a reward if we find the boy. Something about Wheel of Fortune. Well, if the owl got him. Nonsense. Now won't be picking up. Stay away from the forest. I think it's... How should I put it? It's cursed. Just like a fairy tale. Sure, like a Disney movie. No, it's just I was hurrying back so Mom wouldn't be worried. So you're lucky, am I? You're wrong. I'm bullshit. Yeah, and if you make them smell of bugs, we can place them in a little box. Let's go watch Aladdin. No, fuck Aladdin. Yeah, let's watch Peter Pan. Let's play hide and seek. Draw a dinosaur. Fucking kill yourself. That's just a fucking... That's silly Chippendale. And that's a fucking... That's actually just Disney's property. How are you making money off this? There's a face in the TV. It's not plugged in. Oh. Spot the licenses. That's just fucking Predator. That's literally just fucking Predator. That's Let's watch Predator. Oh, I spent the evening with your sister? Did I have a choice? Oh my god, look at that fucking... We've been watching Peter Pan for hours. Hi, Mom. We've been watching Peter Pan for hours. Help me. Episode 2, Dead Boy. Oh, babushka! Babushka jump scare! Here we go. My insides were gripped by horror. I stepped back and almost fell into the snow pile. The black silhouette, on the other hand, straightened up and addressed me in a sweet voice. Sneaking around, huh? Trying to steal my soul? Words got stuck in my throat. Who could be talking in such a silky voice here, between the forest and the dormant village? Well, do you say something, dummy? The cat got your tongue? I'll bite off your nose then. And I'll teach you not to poke in places that don't belong. Ghost stood before me, judging by the force of silhouette, but couldn't even reprimand myself for getting... I was stunned. From the cavity of her hood, a frightened real fox face was staring straight at me. It's just her jaws weren't moving and her eyes weren't blinking. A mask. It's just a girl with the fox mask on. At least I wanted to think that. After a surprise like that, another smile involuntarily crept onto my face. I was just going to school and then you. What about me? Never seen a fox feed a dog? Dog. Okay. Mitten. Cool. Candy! Turbo! Take the turbo. Take candy from the fox. Sell your soul to the fox for the candy. For the Mercedes-Benz! Your jacket doesn't have a fucking zipper. It's buttoned. Oh.
Антоха!
My guy, got quite the coughing fit. Maybe you should stop smoking. I think it's time to quit. Speaking of quitting, I think we're done here. I think we got all the content we're gonna get out of this game. If you like what we do, which is, I don't know, why not subscribe, leave a like, leave a comment, all that. Honk your horn. If you like what we do, honk your horn. You know what to do. I'll see you guys next time.